we would have Aaron Evans joining us in the studio. He's here. We all know Aaron, middle distance runner. Um, Competed at the Commonwealth Games in Glasgow, Scotland, won his heat, got into the semi-final, and unfortunately didn't make it out of the semi-final. But Aaron, first of all, good afternoon, Aaron.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon, Bermuda.
Hey, let's talk about that. Well, let's go back a little further than the Commonwealth Games, because you've had an outstanding collegiate career, indoor, outdoor, but that, I think, was one of the stepping stones to get you to perform at the Commonwealth Games. But let's talk a little differently about the variations of indoor, 800 track, and outdoor. It's a little different.
It's a lot different.
It's a lot different.
Yeah.
Explain the difference.
Well, indoors, you got full laps because it's only a 200-meter track, so the turns are a lot tighter, less maneuverability, less space. Outdoors, you have those long straights, and so it's better for a person like me.
Right. Now, a lot of times I used to watch your indoor meets, and I used to see you take a lot of the inside of the track and make your moves. You've done the same thing at the Commonwealth Games. Everybody was looking over the shoulder, the right shoulder for you, and you came up on the left side, snuck in and got that victory. But competing representing Bermuda, for you, what is that like?
Well, honestly, it's a great feeling because really I do it for my family, Bermuda, and then myself. And just knowing that there isn't a lot of athletes representing Bermuda at that level, it makes me want to do my best and bring home some hardware, like some medals.
Right. Now, we just listened to a bit of the interview with Judy Simons, the president of the Bermuda Olympic Association, and you also, we noted Donna Watson's comments following the CAC Games. Mm-hmm. But not actually getting into the final of the Commonwealth. I know it was a big disappointment to you. But you had a lot of other things going on as well.
Yeah, I did.
Are you fully fit now? Are you back? I know you're back in training, but are you ready mentally and physically to compete?
Well, I'm healthy. That's the most important part.
Right.
I'm not ready to compete yet, but I'm ready to start training at a high level again. And in January, I'll be returning to Oregon to join my team and prepare for Pan American Games.
Right. Now, what's some of the things you've been doing to get yourself back into shape here in Bermuda that will prepare you for the intense training you'll get in Oregon come January? Because you're going to go with a group of people that have already been started, they're miles ahead in terms of competing, training, and so forth. How have you tried to decrease some of that gap once you get there?
Right. So after Commonwealth Games, I actually found out that I had a fractured heel. So I haven't been able to really put in that base work that you would be doing in this time of year. And so I've been swimming and cycling and cross-training as much as possible really to close that gap, like you said. But when I go back in January, I'll have about 7 months till my biggest competition, which is Pan Am's, which is in June or July. July. So really, I'll be just trying to keep the quality of my track workouts real high instead of the quantity. Like a lot of times we be doing a lot more miles than we really need to.
Right.
But I want to change that and just do quality work on the track instead of a plethora of miles, because I think that's what led to my heel being fractured, is putting in all that running that I wasn't used to. I'm a short distance guy, 400, 800, keep me on the track and I'll be happy.
Right. But you talk about the 400. That's a little more technical than the 8, isn't it?
I wouldn't say it's more technical, but I say you have to have a lot more speed. You know, the 800 is technical because it can go out fast, it can go out slow. The 400, that's just an all-out sprint, so whoever's got it in the end's got it. And a lot of different things can happen in the 800, so it's a lot of mitigating factors that you have to get around. Right.
Now, to give me a training session preparing for a major event for the 800. Give me let's say a month out. What you're doing on a daily basis. What sort of sprints are you doing? What sort of reps are you doing? Because obviously, if you're an 800-meter runner, you're not doing 800s. You're doing more or less speed work and so forth. So give me a month out, one day.
So a month out, it's more about being at your peak for that competition. So a month out, I would want to be doing all fast stuff. So I might have a broken 800, which would be like a 300, a 300, and a 200. And I would want to do those at faster than race pace.
Mm-hmm.
And right now, for me, I could run the 800 in about a minute and 46 seconds. That's half a mile.
Right.
And so I would want to be doing these reps at like close to world record pace, which is a minute 40 seconds.
Right.
Just to like really get that speed that I'm getting feel when I step into that competition.
Right. But you're doing it over a shorter distance. But
A shorter distance.
But when you get to competition, you have to. Then the mindset changes because you don't want to do that and not make to the
Exactly.
end. So, how much? During the interview with Judy Simons yesterday, we were talking about psychology, a sports psychologist. But how much of that do you learn about yourself during your school time, and you're building your I would say portfolio on racing? But how much help do you get, or did you get, in school about when to go, when not to go? If you're boxed in, what do you do, and all that? Because schools kind of teach you those type of things.
Well, for me, honestly, that just kind of came naturally. I've always ran from behind,
Right.
and so that's just been my signature, is just to kick in the end and make up a bunch of ground. But the psychology aspect of it, that's definitely important, like you said, because I know I ran my fastest in college, and how to say this, like I wasn't trying to run my fastest. I didn't even know I had that in me.
Right.
And all these things happened to me so fast. Like I wasn't expecting to break the national record 3-4 times, however many times, and become a professional runner and move out to Oregon. And all of these things kind of happened so fast. And since then, I feel like I've been in the best shape of my life, but I haven't seen those performances that I've seen in college. And so I don't think it's a psychology issue, I would say, but sometimes it's hard to get what you want from your body. Like we put our body under so much stress as professional athletes, and we act so much from it, and sometimes it just doesn't like answer us.
Right.
And I mean, you see that case if like Derrick Rose for the Bulls has been out for the past 3 years with injuries.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
he's a great.
Right. And in the best shape of his life when he comes back, but
Exactly.
something else seems to break down.
Yeah.
But running with the fracture, and obviously you didn't know it was fractured. But when you learned that it was fractured, your foot was fractured, was that kind of like a relief of, okay, now I understand why sometimes I couldn't really physically give it everything?
I mean, it's not really a relief, because like any single time I step on the track, I want to do the best I could possibly do. And I put a lot of expectation and a lot of pressure on myself to perform well at Commonwealth Games. And to me, there was no reason I shouldn't have been in that final. I mean, I'm with the most elite runners in North America right now for my distance. And just training with them, I know I can compete at that level, because I mean, I'm beating these guys at practice.
Right.
So at Commonwealth Games, I guess if I didn't have that heel fracture and I was able to put in the type of speed work that I needed to do, like right before the competition, I would have fared a lot better. But we always got this year, so
Right.
that's in the past.
No, another thing we noted in the interview was time. Time prior to your event, getting to the festival, acclimatizing yourself. Do you think we give ourselves enough time to prepare properly for events such as the Commonwealth, CAC, Pan American in July? Realistically, say you're hypothetically you'll be competing July 14th. What's the time you want to get to Toronto, get around the atmosphere, get all that out of the way, do your last minute final touches and all that? What give us a date that you would want to get there to do that?
Well, just to properly acclimatize, I would at least want to be there 10 days before. But when I expect like gold medals and silver medals, it takes a little bit more than that. I know most teams, they don't just go straight to the meet.
Right.
They would do a training camp before, and they would go up to high altitude and maybe get some of the benefits from that. Like that will increase your red blood cell count, and you have more hemoglobin and more oxygen to get to your muscles. And a lot of people utilize that resource. And I mean, we should do that when we go to big competitions because it makes the world a difference.
Right. It's a good suggestion because one thing we noticed in Mexico, the altitude was a killer.
Exactly.
When you have our top, what we consider our top athletes, struggling and can't find reasons why, but forgetting that you're 3,000 miles above sea level, and your body's going to react differently. You might feel okay,
Right.
but your body's going to start reacting differently. You're not going to be able to do the normal things, and that's where we found ourselves in a lot of trouble. But looking ahead at the Pan American Games, and the times that you're looking at possibly doing to compete, you said 149, 150 in Glasgow. You're obviously looking to knock some considerable seconds.
Major time off of that. Major time.
Yeah. Okay. What are you hoping to be steady at come July?
Steady at?
Yeah.
I need to be 145 steady
145.
by the time July comes.
Right.
And I mean, I know I have it in me, but it's just the injuries, it's the little things. You have to be doing everything right. Like at this level, like I said, you're asking so much from your body, and if you're not eating right, sleeping right, drinking correct amount of water, and you just don't get back from your body what you ask.
Right. Right. Now, you have other athletes from Bermuda that are around your age, Trey Houston and others. And what sort of things are you guys bouncing off each other because you want to perform at your best? He's looking to perform at his best. But obviously the communication, you have Shaquille O'Neal coming behind you. What sort of things are you guys bouncing off each other just to make sure that everybody kind of is on the same page, you're giving information, you're taking information, because Trey's training in England now. You're going to Oregon, Shaquille's going to be off to school, so it's just a matter of bouncing information off of. What sort of things are you guys talking about?
For us as athletes, I mean, we just want to make sure the athletes that do want to compete at an elite level have the opportunity to train with elite people, because we do have a lot of talent here like Shaquille, but if he has no one to train with and he never gets to push himself beyond what he's used to doing in Bermuda, he'll never find that part of him
that beast in it.
Yeah, that beast in
Yeah,
it. So.
yeah. Because as you know, you would know, competing against people that are slightly better than you or in their team, you need that beast to come out sometimes just to give you that extra edge.
Yeah, you need to get out your comfort zone.
Yeah. And if you don't, and the longer you stay in that comfort, the worse it gets, because when you get into those tough battles, your mind tends to say, you know what, that's it, check later. And we have to ensure that. Name some of the people that you've been training with or will be training with in Oregon.
Oregon, Andrew Weeding, Nick Simmons was a part of it, Charles Jock, Haroon Abda, Pat Casey. My new training partners are Matt Maldonado and James Eichberger.
Matt's coming from where?
This is also an American. All these guys that I'm naming are mostly Americans.
Right, but he's coming from
out of college system,
yeah,
straight out of college.
Which college he's coming out of?
Long Beach.
Oh, okay. So he'll already have some sort of base training in those conditions a bit. So yeah, I've heard the name. That's why I said I couldn't remember what school he was coming out of. But how do you plan to get down to that 145? I know you said eat right, sleep right, but also you got to have a daily plan on getting that speed back to and maintaining it. What was the winning time in Glasgow?
Glasgow 145.
That was the gold medal time. Okay. So if you're steadily doing 145, a 144 on the day can get you on top of the podium.
Yeah, definitely. Anything can happen to the finals.
Right.
I mean, once you make it to that final, it's anybody's medal.
Right. So most people look at results, and they tend to point fingers at results. How much patience are you asking people to have when you start competing? Because you're just coming back from injury. I mean, okay, your first race, hypothetically, you come 10th.
Right.
People, we're wasting money on Aaron. but that's the reality of Bermuda. That's when you're not winning, people tend to pull you even further down, not knowing the full extent of what the goal is, what the aim is for your progression. Right. You know what I mean? So when do we start saying, be patient, we're just working out, when do we start looking at those type of things?
Well, for me, there's always a bigger picture. I mean, the first race of the season doesn't determine your season.
Right.
And so, I mean, for me, I work in cycles. It's a full-year cycle, and we're trying to be at our fittest, at our best for Rio 2016.
Right.
In the meantime, I've never really had a lot of criticism from Bermudians, except maybe my close friends and family. But, I mean, I do feel like I owe the people of Bermuda a medal.
Right.
I mean, and that's what I want to bring them. And so it's just going to take some time, but I mean, we're so close. I'm so close. All I need to do is stay healthy.
Right.
And if I could stay healthy, I'm going to be running faster than anybody could ever think of in Bermuda. I mean, I could see myself going 143 if I'm healthy. If I could put 2 healthy seasons together,
right,
anything's possible.
For 2016.
For 2016. If I could be healthy from this day forward, all the way until the Rio Olympics,
right,
Bermuda will have an 800-meter person in the finals.
Oh.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
In Brazil.
In Brazil.
Okay. All right. You heard it first and I didn't say it. He said it. So, well, we wish you all the best in that. I mean, I'm looking forward to you just performing at your best. For me, not like many other people, but for me, as long as the athlete has given his or hers all on the track and performing, that's good enough for me. If a medal or getting into the final comes along, then that's a plus. I don't rate people on whether they win or lose. I rate you on the effort you give and the determination that you show in trying to perform at your best. Not every day is going to be a good day. I know that for a fact. But if it's not going good, then you try to do something that's going to change it. If you just say, that's it, I'm not going to do anything. But I do want to thank you for coming on and sharing your up-to-date messages. We look forward to a good 2015 and 2016. We'll hopefully see you in Toronto, and we can get one step better, get into the final in Toronto. And if things happen, we can actually get on the podium, and then that super flies you through to Brazil.
Exactly.
Because the Pan American Games is a qualifier for Brazil, isn't it?
I'm not too sure.
I believe it is, if I'm not mistaken. Talking to Dunn, I think it is. Because the CAC was qualifications for the Pan Am,
okay.
And then the Pan Am should be qualifications for Brazil. So, good luck.
Thank you, sir.
How soon are you leaving in January?
Maybe second week in January.
Oh, okay. But you're not doing anything of training-wise. When I say anything, you're not doing any road races or nothing like that?
No road races.
No.
I'm actually just waiting right now to get these custom insoles from Bermuda Podiatry. Waiting on those insoles.
He's giving you enough to run with?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, good luck. We'll stay in touch once you get over in Oregon and see how conditions are making out over there. So it's a different type of atmosphere training over there, isn't it?
Totally different environment.
Yeah.
Totally different.
What are some of the things that are different from being home, other than your eating, sleeping, drinking, training?
Well, it's good to have like-minded people around you that also have the same goal. But when they don't know when to turn that switch off and all they want to do is talk about track for 24/7, that's probably the hardest part. Because
Right.
I mean, sometimes you want to get away from the track and just relax and not have to think about the track.
Right.
And they just bring that straight back to the house from the track 24/7. That's all they want to talk about.
Right.
So.
Now, the challenge for them is that somebody in that group won't go to certain championships.
A lot of them won't go because
Right.
only 3 people can make a U.S. team, and it's literally close to 30 of them.
Wow.
Yeah.
So it's a battle every day.
It's a battle every day. So you'll see that on the track, actually, people competing against each other,
Right.
trying to beat each other in practice when the real race hasn't even came yet.
Right,
So.
right. But you're in that mix, so you get that feel, you get that vibe, and you get to feed off of that as
Yeah,
well.
that competitiveness,
Right.
that drives me out.
Okay. So just keep beating them in practice. You'll be all right.